All right, it's 4 o'clock. I'll go ahead and call this regularly scheduled Carbon County School District 2 Board of Trustees meeting to order. First is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, item 2 is to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 3, presentations and recognitions. There aren't any specifically at this time. Anything related to Saratoga High School will be covered during the Saratoga Middle High School presentation. Skipping item 4, audience comment. Is there any members of the audience that would like to comment on anything at this time? No? Okay. Item 5, we did not have correspondence this month, so moving into item 6, resignations and hiring. Item A.
We unfortunately got the resignation letter of Christian Mills, who teaches math here at Saratoga Middle High School. Effective at the end of the school year, he's accepted a position in Mountain View, which is closer to family, but we will miss him, but I would recommend you accept this.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the resignation of Christian Mills effective at the end of the 21-22 school year, and thank him for his years of service.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resignation of Christian Mills effective at the end of the school year, and thank him for his service to the district. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B.
Item B, we're recommending that the board approve a contract for the 22-23 school year to Seth Hetherington as the principal of Saratoga Elementary School. We went through that process last week. Quite a few, I think around 15 were on that committee, including Karen and the board. But it's an extensive all-day process. Most of you are familiar with that. We've had those in the past. And at the end of the day, and after all of the input, this is our recommendation that we're bringing to the board.
Mr. Chair, I move that we offer a contract for the 22-23 school year to Seth Hetherington as the principal of Saratoga Elementary School.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to offer a contract for the 2022-2023 school year for Seth Hetherington, the principal at Saratoga Elementary School. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item C.
Item 6C is adding the second assistant track coach for Saratoga High School. They have the minimum number, over the minimum number of 28 high schools out for track. So that allows them to have the second assistant track coach. So we're recommending Shaylee Love for that position.
Chairman, I move that we offer an activities extra duty contract to Shaylee Love, second assistant track coach at SHS for 2021-2022 school year. Second.
Moved and seconded to offer the activity extra duty contract to Shaylee Love as the second assistant track coach at SMHS for the, or at SHS for the 21-22 school year. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item D.
Item D, we're recommending to approve Casey Jones as the second assistant track coach for Saratoga Middle High School. They have approximately 48 junior high athletes out for track, so that's quite the number, well over the 28 that allows them to have a second assistant. In fact, we're looking possibly for one more assistant. But anyway, we're recommending Casey Jones as the second assistant.
Chair, I move that we offer the extra duty contract to Casey Jones, second assistant track coach, Saratoga Middle School for the 21-22 school year, pending certification.
Moved and seconded to offer an activity extra duty contract to Casey Jones as the second assistant track coach for Saratoga Middle School for the 21-22 school year pending certification. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And E,
We're recommending to hire Quinn Harrington as the middle level other assistant encampment track coach for the 21-22 school year pending certification.
Chairman, I move that we offer an activity extra duty contract to Quinn Harrington, middle level other assistant encampment track coach for 21-22 school year pending certification.
moved and seconded to offer an activity extra duty contract to Quinn Harrington, mid-level other assistant for encampment track coach 21-22 school year pending certification. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Lastly, item F.
And finally, we're recommending hiring David Jones as a second middle level other assistant at HEM track coach. They have 28 athletes signed up for their junior high track program.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we offer an activity extra duty contract to David Jones, second middle level other assistant HEM track coach for the 21-22 school year.
Moved and seconded to offer an activity extra duty contract to David Jones, second level other assistant at Hannah Mountain track coach, 21-22 school year. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 7A, administrative reports, Dr. Copeland.
All right, I have the enrollment figures there. We're at 587 as of the end of February. You can see the differences there from not only last month, but also last year. Region 5 BOCES Director Dan Mayer will be at our April board meeting to give his annual report and to request continued mill levy support for Region 5 BOCES, of which we're currently a member. Item 3, spring break dates begin next week. We do not have school Friday, but spring break will be the following week, March 28th to April 1st. Congratulations to the Saratoga basketball teams for qualifying for state and to the boys for placing third at state. Item 5, dates for salary committee, salary and benefits committee. The current members of that committee are James, Georgia, Nick, and Joe. Committee needs to meet once as a committee and then second as a public meeting where the staff is invited. I just put down before the May 16th board meeting when the recommendations will be considered. So I put down possible dates, May 4th, May 11th. If there's anybody that's on that committee, will that work? I think those are Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
I mean, we can change it. I just threw out some dates.
Time and day specific.
The second one will need to be after school so the staff can access.
I prefer 5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock on those dates work? Okay. So I'll send out reminders and all that. But we'll plan on those 2 dates then at 5 o'clock. Item 6, just information item of the telephone system bid we accepted from Capital Business Systems. They're the ones that service our copy machines currently, or at least most of them, I think, if not all of them. We received 2 bids. They were substantially lower initial cost, slightly higher monthly cost. So we accepted that and we attached those tally sheets all to your board docs. Item 7, we did receive an email and letter attached from WDE that recommended our Carbon 2 accreditation will continue the coming year. Thanks to everyone that helped with gathering that information and documentation, which is quite an extensive thing that's due each November 1st. Then they look over all the evidences of each district and then make their recommendation. So we did get that, and that will be sent to the state board, who will approve it sometime this summer. Item 8, the federal programs monitoring letter. We did receive a letter stating no findings. It's rare to have no findings. Usually they find something you have to correct. So kudos to those mentioned here: Noel Manning, Robin Brown, Pam Schroeder especially, and others maybe that were involved in that, sending documentation back and forth for that. That's an audit every 3 years of all of our federal grant programs. So pretty extensive information there. So big thanks to them, and that'd be a good thing. And then on item 9, JD is going to make maybe a few comments, but we had a couple of parents that came and visited with him recently about a self-funded cheerleading squad at Saratoga High School. We attached some of their comments and a couple of their bio descriptions. They put down the 2 that are interested in doing that. I will let JD expand a little on that, but we felt that they're planning to come to the April meeting to just kind of propose it to the board. We just wanted to give everybody a heads up so you could think about it, read over this information between now and the April meeting. And JD, if you want to add anything, he was the one that was actually at the meeting with both ladies, or just?
Yes. So both of them have a big background in cheer and dance throughout their high school, and they were looking at the size of our school and participation, and they asked one why we don't have cheerleading, and I said, well, it's 1A schools and one we don't, and I think we would be the third that's a 1A school if we did that. So it's not a very common thing, but is it something that would add more participation for some girls and stuff? Maybe, but they just wanted to see what the board's feel would be to possibly make this an activity. We would have to make it an activity because it is under the Wausau guidelines, so it would have to become one of our activities for the school.
So just a heads up, if any of you have further questions, you can contact JD or me, either one, and we can find out if there's just some questions you have or facts or want to get more input. That's kind of what this next month, why we wanted to give you a heads up now.
They are kind of on a timeline if we do move forward with this. They would need to do like cheer tryouts in May, end of April, 1st of May. If you look through the packet they provided, there's fundraising, things like that. There's a cheer camp that they would have to go to, part of the Wausau certification stuff. It's not something that, okay, let's do this in July and then throw it together in August type thing. You want it done right, it's something that we probably need to look at next meeting. Do something with it. Any other questions on cheerleading?
Do you want me to do them now or later?
It might be more for them. Is it for me or them?
Well, I read over all of this stuff, so, well, you should know, but I don't know if you do. Where will they practice this at?
So they told me their practices would be before school.
Okay.
That way it doesn't interfere with any after-school activities. The girls that wanted, or boys that want to do basketball, volleyball, they would still have their after-school practices.
Did you look at their fundraisers? A lot of their fundraisers are similar to like what the elementary school does and stuff like that at a similar time. I think they might have to, if they were to do it, that would be a conflict.
And I mentioned to them that a couple of these are this, and they just said we put something together of some ideas. So it's not very definite, but fundraising.
How does it work having it as a, since it's under WASA, how does that work if the school doesn't fund it? I know we have the rodeo club, is that similar? How it would work?
It would be just like.
It's not
we did-
WASA?
And it'd be like probably when encampment did football.
But so how will they transport the kids though?
They won't travel, only home games.
Only home games? Okay, those are my questions currently.
What if they got into the cheer competition? Are they looking at that?
They could. These two ladies didn't know what Wyoming did for that because, like I said, I think we would be the third school in 1A that has it. So they'd probably be considered 1, 2A, just like we do wrestling.
Burlington and Cokeville are the two, I think, that have cheer teams. Yeah, on the west side of the state.
Is there much interest in cheer?
Do what?
Is there much interest?
If they got the somewhat approval to look in, then they would. They don't want to get a bunch of girls' hopes all up, and then, sorry, we're not gonna have it type thing. Which I completely understand. I mean, if
It's not feasible, one
right.
person.
If I may, as far as transportation, since it's a WASA sanctioned event, student transportation would be reimbursable as an activity, just like the football and basketball, since it's a WASA sanction.
Thanks, Sally.
Anything else?
That was it.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, this is your turn for it.
Mine? All right. Thank you, board, for having us, and thank you for coming to SMHS tonight. So, since I have my staff, or newbie staffs here, I was gonna let them introduce themselves, who they are, what they teach, a little bit of bio on them. I know last year we weren't able to do this, so I'm asking my two new teachers from last year, Ms. Relaford and Ms. Teska, to share, and then the Webbers. So, Ms.
Do you
Relaford?
want us out from behind the tree?
Sure. So they can come see you.
We do.
Hi. I'm Tyra Relaford. I was hired last year, so this is my second year. I teach 7th, 9th, 12th, and technically ESL. I speak Spanish, which I think is why I ended up with the ESL. I graduated from the University of Wyoming, May of 2020. I wrote an undergraduate honors thesis on Shakespeare. I'm kind of a nerd. I don't have much. That's me. I'm Tyra Relaford.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anthea Teska. I'm originally from New York State, not New York City, but upstate New York. And I spent 20 plus years teaching special education in New York State before I came out here about 4 years ago. This is my second year here in Saratoga. I am special education here as well, predominantly life skills, functional life skills here at the high school. And so that is pretty much me.
Emma Weber, crew. We'll let Noni go first because I know Mr. Weber won't say a whole lot.
I am Noni Weber. I'm married to this fine man. I've been teaching for 16 years. I was raised on a ranch in the eastern part of the state. We have 2 children, both at school age. One's 25. It's a small world. He works for Jason Williams' uncle in Lusk. He's found his joy as a parent. I have to be very happy about that. And our daughter is going to college at LCCC. She loves it. English is very important to me. The content area, I teach 8th, 10th, and 11th grade here. Kids are our most precious resource, and it's my job to make sure they can communicate.
I'm Todd Weber, I teach CT Woods Middle High School. I'm married to this fine woman who keeps me grounded pretty much. I also coach middle school football. And that's about it. I'm pretty boring.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, the next group I have is our, well, Mr. Weber is on here as well, but a couple of staff recognitions that we had. Ms. Uraski earlier this year won a chemistry award, right, for her program. She was sent to Arizona, yeah, earlier this year to present everything she had on that. So that was kind of a big honor for her to be picked for that honor and that representation. And earlier this year, I think was on there too, Mr. Honholt won the Coach of the Year for girls cross country, and Mr. Weber was nominated and won the junior high football Coach of the Year for our school. So another big shout out for our coaches and teachers that you can see. They do a lot outside of just the classroom as well. Student shout outs. I got Lane first. I know, they're next, real quick.
Okay, hi, I'm Logan Robinson. I'm a sophomore here at Saratoga Middle High School. I had the opportunity to join the Wyoming All-State Marching Band this year. I applied and got accepted to that. So pretty much what, I play the tenor saxophone, and that's the instrument I'm going to be playing in the band. We have a training camp that is going to go from June 29th to July 2nd. We're going to learn how to march, and I'm hoping no one has to learn how to play their instruments then. And then we'll play at the Cody Independence Day Parade, July 3rd and 4th. We'll have a little bit of a break between some of these. Then the Sheridan Rodeo Parade, the 14th and 15th of July. Cheyenne Frontier Days, the 22nd and 23rd of July. And then finally, we'll do our big trip. We're going to go down to Orlando, Florida to play at Disney World and Universal Studios, August 1st through 6th. And I'll find out more dates and times as it gets closer, but that's the information I have on it right now. That's a really nice opportunity that I was able to join. It comes around every 2 years, so I'm going to be graduated by the time it happens again. And other than that, I was going to mention real quickly, last week, Thursday through Friday, was the Wyoming State FBLA conference, and I'm the president for the Saratoga FBLA chapter. I placed 4th in intro to public speaking and 2nd in word processing, and I'll kind of lead into Aspen and Milan here.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I'm Aspen Sewell,
And I'm Milan Scott.
and we're freshmen here at Saratoga Middle High School. And we are also part of the local FBLA chapter, and we got to compete this weekend. So together, we got first in broadcast journalism. In computer applications, Rylan Williams placed 4th, Alistair Ingraham placed 3rd, and I placed 1st. Jada Jennings and Rylan Williams earned 3rd place in their Introduction to Business presentation. Alistair Ingraham placed 1st in Introduction to Financial Math. And we now get the opportunity to go represent Wyoming FBLA at the National FBLA Conference in Chicago this summer. Oh, that's it.
That's awesome. Congratulations to you all.
So like you You see, I've got 3 of them. We took 7, I think, and 6 of the 7 qualified for nationals. So pretty good accomplishment there. And then last is Gabby.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I think everyone does. I'm Gabby Johnson. I'm a junior here at the high school. I was asked to talk a little bit about the trip that I went on last year with the WREA and then the one I will be going on this year. Last year, our counselor, Ms. J, talked to our whole class about going on the WREA trip, which is normally held in Washington, D.C. every summer for students. But due to COVID, it was just one around Wyoming that was going to different co-ops around Wyoming. I will be completely honest, I did not want to go on this trip. My dad filled out the paperwork and I just signed it. But I got the email that I was going on the trip, and it was actually a very fun trip. I met a ton of people that I still have connections with and that I talk to every day. The 2 chaperones that I went with was Robin Freezer and Missy Beegler, and I still talk to them. I talk to Missy every day, and Robin will sometimes send me a post she finds on Instagram that's like, oh look, Gabby, it's cows, it's you. So I made connections with all of them, and it was overall a fun trip. I met a lot of different people and went all around Wyoming to the different co-ops there. And then I was asked by Robin to apply for the interview process to go on the one to Washington, D.C. this year. And the reason there's an interview process for this one is because the WREA will pay for the whole trip, which is a week in Washington, D.C. for me. So that's plane tickets, food, hotels, everything there will be paid for by them. And I sat through an interview with Robin and then some other candidates that were asked to interview for it. And I got the email that the WREA will be paying for the whole trip and everything. So I leave for Cheyenne on June 13th, and then we fly out of Denver on the 14th, and we'll spend a week in DC going to the Lincoln Memorial, all the different major memorials there. We're gonna see a play at the Kennedy Center. We're gonna meet with different senators, so that'll be an exciting week. And then we fly home June 20th, I believe. So I was also informed by Robin that she would like me to apply for the youth leadership, Wyoming youth leadership position, which I will kind of be doing what I'm doing now, talking about my trip to the whole electrical co-op association group. So that's a lot of people, so I'll do that in Washington. And then if they like my speech and they accept me, then I will go back next summer to Nashville, Tennessee and do it at their huge national meeting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, and a few other things I just included in here. You can see we got a lot of students involved in lots of different things. But I put on there our activities for this year, number of participants. It is so neat to see how many of our kids participate. We got 118 students total, and if you look at our number of students participating in our activities, I would say at least half of them to 3/4 is either doing something at some time. So, it's neat that we have enough activities. We have, and we're being successful. And I think that leads to why so many students want to participate in things, is because we are successful in our activities. So, but you can see we have quite a few. You just heard we're trying to hire a 4th track coach, 48 junior high kids, 32 high school, I think is what we have. So those are some of the largest numbers we've had. And I think Karen was on our activity committee when we were talking earlier this year. We had 28 junior high volleyball, 28 basketball. I mean, we're well over 25 to 30 kids in junior high for all of our activities. And with the number of students we have in our elementary right now with our 5th grade and 4th grade, I think our numbers are going to stay right in that 25 to 30 plus for especially all of our junior high activities. So, and the last thing, I kind of just wanted to invite Since you weren't able to come last year, and I really didn't know many of you either, at the end of the board meeting, if you would like, I would be more than happy to take you around the school, kind of give you a tour. I think some of you have been there, but some of our out-of-towners, this might be the only place you kind of get is the gym or to the library, and I'd be more than happy to show you where we're going to look at placing our 6th grade next year and some of those changes and stuff that way. So at the end of the meeting, if you'd like to do that, I'll stick around and take you around. Any questions for me?
I have a question for Logan. So you said you had an interview for the All-State Band. What was that? What did you have to do for interview?
For the interview, posters and, advertisements like, hey, come apply for this. I saw some of those around, and I had the band teacher here up at the high school, Gregory Paulson, inform us. So I hopped on the Wyoming All-State Marching Band website. I filled out all the forms, all the information, and I started the process of paying for the trip, which is they accepted me, and then I continued to pay for the trip. And I didn't mention it earlier, but if you get accepted, you'll have to pay a set amount to go on the trip. And that's just kind of saying you won't back out of it now. So I'm kind of in it now. I just finished paying it, so can't back out. I got time and money in there already. But to join it, I just went on the website. I filled out the information. They told me I got accepted, and then I started the payments. Do I have any other questions on that or that feeling? Thank you.
Any others? Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, moving on to item 7C, which would be the special ed report. Robin, saw you come in there.
Sorry, I was late. I was
You're here on time for this?
I know, perfect timing, right? So mine's pretty short this month. Right now we are at 123 active students, which is up 3 from January, actually, not from February. We are currently evaluating 3 for initial IEPs, and those came from our BIT process, which later on in the report it talks about for initial evaluations for school referrals. We have a cutoff time just because we only have 60 days to evaluate kids, and we don't really like to go into June and try to get kids to come in to take a test. So we did have that cutoff. Those 3 are from the BIT processes that we had. And then we just have 8 additional reevaluations happening. We are going through and evaluating kids that are due for those 3-year reevaluations through mid-October. Just that way, if we come back in the fall and we have a bunch of new kids move in, Drew has time to get through all the kids, and he's not trying to do 35 at a time. So 8 of those right now. Staffing wise, we currently have openings at SMHS. That's a lot of just staff movement, and then also moving the 6th grade up. Anthea is going to go down to the elementary school and help us with some case management and teaching there based on our numbers and the supports that our kids need. And then so we're looking for someone here, and then also we still have an opening at HES for full-time teacher positions. I think Dr. Copeland had mentioned that with the federal grant monitoring, we are done. There was no findings, and so that was a long process, but pretty happy to be over that. And then with our EL kids, we had quite a few of those kids move out recently, which is kind of what happens. We know they come and go. So we got all of their access testing done. Starting this week, I go through and just verify those access tests, which is that's the test that keeps them eligible for EL services. So it's just testing where they're at with reading, listening, speaking, all of that in English. So I go through and verify that we tested the right kids on the right things and that everything is matching up. We won't get those scores back until the end of May, so we won't really know numbers for next year until we get that back, and of course, whoever moves in. Oh, I did think I was gonna have to screen a new student, and I went to give her the screening, and she goes, oh, that access test, I know that one. Come to find out, she'd already been screened and had already taken the access test, so I didn't have to screen her. So that saved us both a little bit of time, and she was pretty excited not to have to take the test. So, any questions for me? Short and sweet.
Could you tell me what WIDA is, or WIDA?
Yep. So that is the company that makes the access test, which is, I don't even know what it stands for, to be honest, but it tests those kids in 4 different areas on their English proficiency. Yeah, it's through the University of Wisconsin, so I'm assuming the WI has something to do with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last administrative report, Mr. Vinnie.
Chairman, members of the board, my report's attached as usual. I started off with curriculum, so we've now had our second curriculum review meetings for both math and ELA, 6 through 12. The math committee reviewed CPM textbooks. The textbook review forms that were completed by staff members as well as our committee members. We also reviewed numerous sources of math testing data, solicited feedback from former Department 2 students, and we're actually working on collecting some feedings from parents right now as well. I believe the committee seems to be leaning towards possible replacement of CPM math. So right now, our math teachers have been tasked with reviewing programs and ranking those, if any, as a potential replacement. And then we have our next meeting in April. Hopefully, we'll be able to discuss those rankings, samples with the committee, see a fairly clear way forward, and then, if possible, make a recommendation for next year's replacement at that level. My report's already out of date. The secondary piece I put in there, I said we're headed in a slightly different direction. That's no longer true. We are basically doing the same thing as we are with math. So teachers are currently instructed to continue looking at samples they've had since early February and ranking those and making recommendations that we can take a committee and hopefully very clearly decide on what to do moving forward. In that particular case, we're talking about 6 through 8 ELA curriculum. We currently have what's called collections, which the teachers have expressed some frustrations with them. So, hopefully it's a smooth process. So disregard what else is in the report there about potential alternative. District assessment system update. Just to give you some information about YTOP data. So back in our February 4th in-service, which is the last in-service we've had, numerous reports were sent out, essentially individual scores for all students that took YTOP, and they were broken down by school and by grade level, so teachers could easily see how their students were performing. And then they received the same reports back in the fall when we took the fall interim, so they were able to really, if they put them together, they could see how their students have progressed over time. Towards the end of February, I was able to put specific comparison documents together that really showed side-by-side comparisons, so they made very, very clear about potential growth or possible decline. Again, per grade and per school, so fairly easy. So just an overall report view. We see growth in both math and ELA in nearly all districts, all grades district-wide, with the exception of one grade in ELA, where we actually went backwards from fall testing. Compared to the state, we're doing better in terms of ELA interim testing results, but we are behind in certain grades with percentage growth. Hopefully that makes sense. The state has made more growth than we have in certain grades. Math, unfortunately, it's a little bit worse off than that, where we have a few more grades than ELA that are lagging behind how the state's progressing. These are interim testing results only. I guess you could say when you go into those tests, it's a different kind of situation, obviously, than some of the end of year testing. It's going to be data that indicates how our students are progressing through the year. There's all kinds of things you can talk about too. They're testing on things, and unfortunately, they don't get towards the end of the year. Even with summative tests, they're really testing on things that students still could technically be experiencing in classrooms at the end of April, May. But I just want to give you that information. does go along with what we've seen in the past, just in terms of gaps that we've identified since the pandemic started. We're still trying to catch up on this. Other work, basically I just wrote about 3 different ways that my tasks in the last month have really been split up. PD for next year, organizing that with a digital learning science grant I've mentioned a few times, so just the additional work into that, and then new teacher job fairs involved in a couple. Next year, at the beginning of the year for PD, we've got some trauma-informed care. So really just talking about how students bring trauma to the school based on their experiences and how we can better address that. We've got that lined up at the beginning of the year, as well as some training for the elementary teachers to help them tackle the computer science standards that will go into effect at the beginning of next school year. And then I just talked about the teacher job fairs. Talked to a number of people, not the best turnout. I actually felt that we had more people approach our table than 4 years ago, at least with the UW job fair. Unfortunately, we just found out that we had a couple of candidates, or at least one really strong candidate to a job in the district. Talked to a number of people that were kind of interested in our districts, but haven't heard from them or they haven't finished applications. It's hard, as most of you know. It's hard to do districts within the state. Try to do our best. I've reached out to people. I know our principals have reached out to people, so we're hoping the best for that. To mention several times the grant monitoring, I just wanted to thank Robin and Pam Schroeder for all that work. I think especially Robin and Pam, they put a lot of work into that process to get it turned back in. That we had no findings is fantastic. I do want to brag about myself a little bit. We did receive a couple of accommodations for the process, and that was specifically from my work too. So that was nice. And then Rachel's report I've attached as usual. So she goes through and explains various trainings that she's done recently to again help support the teachers. When called upon, she's done various data dives, both with David Schwartz and with myself and our principals in the district, just to try to alert to some potential concerns with that data. She's also been working continuously with several groups throughout the district. At Saratoga Elementary, she's got local groups in 1st and 6th grade, and then up north, she's working with numerous groups, helping with progress monitoring as well as some conventions. She had some really great things to say just the other day about maxing helping in elementary school with the teachers about how ability he is to try and help these kids do that to the best. So, any questions about either reports?
Yeah, so on the math, when you go in the back and reaching out to former grads, what does that look like?
So we sent out I can't remember how many questions, and my computer doesn't seem to not play nice the internet, but I can't remember the number of questions, but essentially we asked them what was their latest or highest level of math that they took within the district, what school did they go to in the district, if they went to college or jumped into the workforce right away or trade school or something like that. If they thought it was effective and prepared them for what they did after high school, if they would recommend the program to continue, and then just additional comments. It was somewhat mixed. Honestly, I can't remember the exact percentage breakdowns, but I think when it came to they felt it prepared them for essentially, it was almost exactly 50-50. It was a little bit more towards 49-51, a little bit more towards no, it did not prepare me. And then whether or not they recommended us continue, it was like 60-40, no. As well, but like I said, I tried and I can't go into it. But I remember looking at that before, seeing the majority that had responded, and we're only talking about maybe about 14, 16 people. The majority seemed to say no, they did not think that we should continue to see.
I have a question. You said it's hard to compete with other districts. Is there any one thing that stands out, or is it multiple faceted?
Probably wasn't missing. Laura was chasing him down. We were trying to tackle him. No, it's a variety of things. I thought we did a good job, actually. We really tried to bring people over and talk to them. And you walk around, especially the UW one. We were at Blackfield State, Laura and I as well. I felt like that was kind of a wash. There weren't a lot of people to begin with. But when we walked around the UW one, especially, and I can let anyone else chime in on that, you see districts and their starting salary is 10 grand more than us. That's hard. One of the people we lost just today, which was probably one of our top choices, I think they're starting about $10,000 more annually than what we do against that. I think there were districts that had signing bonuses too that are hard to compete against. We didn't have any. I don't think anyone saw any, but we were looking for sped people. We never saw one sped person, but we cut a table across the aisleway from us that was what, $12,000 bonus sped teacher. What can we offer? There's fishing here.
Don't mind the wind.
I think that's the biggest thing. You know, I talked to Dana. I should have taken a picture, but I think we've got good signage. I think we're friendly and approachable. You know, we really try to level people.
Yeah, we had candy.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's a numbers game. Unfortunately, I did talk to our colleague, so he left, but, and, you know, I don't mean this negatively in any way, but there are some districts that have very strong reputations in the state. We were next to Sheridan too at UW. They had the one woman that was running the booth at a line the entire time. And I talked about how the fact that, you know, these people will line up and go talk to them. They might not get a job there. That doesn't mean anything bad on us, but if we're their second choice, that's good. So we still have a fighting chance. But again, if you're looking at districts that are offering more money and bonuses like that, it's hard to compete against people who have a specific desire to get here, or if they interview those places, they say no thank you for a second or a third. I have had some people reach out to me that didn't respond to me a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, that now are trying to get more information. So I'm hopeful that maybe, no offense to them, but they didn't get their first pick, and so they're coming back to us, and I'll take that. Better than nothing.
I would also say a couple of things. There's a national trend where there's much less total numbers going into the colleges of education across the whole country. So you're starting off with less numbers than 8 years ago when I came. We would have maybe 20-something applicants for every elementary position. Now, if you're lucky, we have 7 total. I mean, you're just looking at different numbers of applicants. And another thing, our, you know, the people that you kind of recruit are going to be, in large part, you know, these young graduates that are just graduating. We pay full family benefits. Well, that full family insurance benefit doesn't mean the same thing to a single person coming out looking for a salary as it does to maybe some of our teachers and families that are present in the district where it is a big deal to offer a $25,000 benefit for family insurance premium per year. So there's some things there, and if you take, the hard thing is when you look at, we've talked about this, and Darren and I have talked about it going forward, but even in past years when Sally and I talked about it, you know, you could reduce the family benefit and then get your salaries up, but then that's a cut and pay to current people that are on the family insurance premiums. Really, you're not giving a raise in pay then if you do too much of that. And then, you know, the other thing is we're one of the few districts that are closest to the model. So what these other districts are doing, like Gillette and these others that pay quite a bit more, they're taking it from somewhere else. Also, because of the way our district's made up, when we have classes of 8 in some of our campuses or classes, you know, of 10, you know, a Sheridan who has classes of, you know, maybe 2 classes of 22 in every, or 4 or 5 classes of 22 in every grade, they've got that economy of scale where they can have, you know, 1 teacher for every 20 kids. Well, we can't do that unless, I mean, our option is to have combined grades, have less teachers total number wise. So, I mean, we don't have the same completely level playing field that some of these districts do. Sheridan too has always had a national reputation, or I say always. Since I've been here, they've had a national reputation people getting there. But I have talked to some people who have gotten to districts like Sheridan too, and those districts, I'm not sure about Sheridan too. I know Pinedale used to do this, but when a teacher in Pinedale used to move, and I think I heard Sheridan did this, but when they moved from initial to continuing, they got a bonus when they did that. But they didn't move anybody that wasn't the assessment data for their classes. There's a lot of pressure in some of those positions, which I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying there's different philosophies and there's different reputations. But this whole salary thing is going to get, to be a deal because, used to Wyoming was above all the surrounding states. Well, now we're not so far above most of them. And, there's a reason why our applicants for the principal in Saratoga were non-experienced principals. That's what we're going to attract because of our salary. And you look at our salary and say, well, man, that's a pretty good salary, but not compared to other districts. So there's just some things that are going to continue to be challenges in the whole, attracting thing. But the biggest concern is just the whole national trend of less and less people going into education. There's just so many kind of hits and all publicity-wise about public ed that people are just not choosing they used to. They're just, everything is there's so many negative kind of things out there. But anyway, there's some challenges that are probably going to get a little bit more challenging.
I am headed to the Greeley job fair this Thursday and Friday, which
One more chance to try to attract. On
Housing has not helped either. Housing costs might not add as far as this whole salary thing.
yeah,
Be a good thing for me. Okay.
Thank you. Any more questions on any of the reports before we move on? All right. Items 8 and 9, we do not have any unfinished or new business discussed at this meeting. Item 10 would be the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Sorry.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11A will be the treasurer's report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, your general fund balance at the end of February was $5,477,745.81. You see there your revenue and reimbursed expenses plus your February and bills and payroll. Your major receipts, of course, come from the State of Wyoming Foundation and the Carbon County Treasurer. Your monies are invested in Section 3 at the various rates and maturities. Right now, WildStar is our highest paying interest rate for investment. Do you have any questions regarding the general fund? On page 2 are your other funds. You see there at the top of the page the various grant monies that we have. We are getting some of those spent down, using a lot of them. You see the comparison between February of 21 and February of 22 payroll. We're looking at some more grant payroll than we had last year. That's about the difference between the $35,000 is the grant payroll and increase in special ed aids that we have coming out of 16. You see your scholarship accounts. There are new scholarships issued during the month of February. Your balances and so forth on the employee benefit fund, the major maintenance fund, the capital construction fund, the depreciation reserve fund, the lunch fund, and your 3 activity funds. Do you have any questions regarding your other funds with the district? Any questions regarding the summaries for revenue and expenditures? I think we're right on track with where we need to be as far as compared to our budget. That concludes my report.
Mr. Chairman, Bills Committee, and I met with Sally, and she answered our questions as always. So I move we approve the following bills. General Fund, $236,246.57. Federal Fund, $26,108.28. Major Maintenance Fund, $31,877.50. Depreciation Reserve Fund, $50,403. Hot Lunch Fund, $34,229.93. Encampment Activity Account, $4,214.32. Anna Activity Account, $8,181.56. Saratoga Schools Activity Account, $10,238.43, for a total of $401,499.59.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the bills and grand total of $401,499.59. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. April Bills Committee will be Miller, Westring, and okay, moving on to item 12, items from the board. A is to review board governance leadership policy tab 2.01, which is just general board governance. B, thoughts, issues, questions? Okay. Do not have any policy reviews this month. Region 5 OCs, Georgia.
I just was gonna highlight a few things off of the full report that Dan made as a Region 5 BOCES is still coordinating with DFS, because DFS placements account for an average of placements at CRV and the day schools. And these, in the state, these students are hard to place, and DFS wants help figuring that out. And then, as Jim mentioned earlier, Dr. Copeland mentioned earlier, Dan will be here next month. And he just puts in here, you know, he always is thankful for whatever we can do to make his presentation. The funds generated from the mill levy are essential and invaluable to Region 5 BOCES. Because of our member districts receiving the services, care, and therapeutic intervention is necessary for these students to become responsible people and contributing citizens. So just remember the kids when we're talking about this. I mean, I know we don't have a lot of funds, but it's a tough thing. Like, they're in the same boat as we. They don't have money to do this, but these kids need somewhere to go, and they don't have any other kids to go. A lot of it. So that's all.
Thank you. Okay, item D, board member comments.
Sure. Sorry, I'm dealing with something cold, allergies, I'm not sure. Anyway, I would like to thank Christian Mills for his outstanding teaching up here. I know that my kids are gonna miss him, so we'll miss him. I look forward to meeting our new principal, Seth Hetherington. I've heard a lot of good things about him. All the new /year-old teachers, welcome, and Miss Relaford forgot to mention that she's also the rodeo club sponsor, and she's done really well at that too, so I appreciate that. We don't have a team, but we have, because we don't put a rodeo on, but we have a club, and she makes sure that they do concessions and stuff so they can pay for their entry fees in the upcoming season, which starts April 1st. Good job on the federal programs monitoring, Noel, Pam, and Robin. That's pretty awesome. I know what it is to have no findings on grants, and that takes a lot, so good job. And congratulations on the teacher awards, and our kids here at this school are awesome. Logan, if you've heard Logan play, you know that he didn't have to do an interview. He's just really outstanding saxophone player, so congratulations. Gabby Y'all do great at that because you stood up here and spoke like a 25-year-old. So congratulations, and congratulations to all the FBLA kids. I know that Mr. Mason does a really good job with them. Also, I just wanted to say that donkey basketball was fun. I enjoyed seeing all the teachers. Drew, I'm surprised you can even move this week after the game, but it was fun to watch the kids and teachers and fire department and ski joring people get together for a community fundraiser. That was long, sorry.
Not all of it.
I did take all of it, sorry.
Okay, I echo most of what Casey said. We'll really miss Christian and Mindy, who've been a big part of our school, helping out with everything. He's a super fun teacher that has made math bearable. When I had to answer the survey, I did one of your surveys about the math, and I did not even know what the CPM math was. But I was like, well, what do we do? Because whatever we do seems to work well, but I heard he does like part CPM, part something else. So, but he's always been a phenomenal teacher. I even enjoy parent-teacher meetings, which is good. So he makes them fun. Congratulations on the federal grant, all the new teachers. Maybe not many people know that Noni is also a phenomenal line judge. If you have not got a chance to watch her line judge, it's better than watching volleyball. She does it very seriously. So we're very lucky and blessed where we live to have such great staff and students, and I love the kids getting up and speaking before all of us because I still don't do very good at it, and I'm really good at talking, just not in front of people. So I'm super impressed every time we get the kids up there and they act like they're just talking to their peers. So I really think that's awesome.
Yeah. I also echo everything that's already been said. They haven't left a lot. Thank the Saratoga Middle High School for the snacks. Or was that Pro Start? Yeah, it was.
CCLA.
Okay. Anyways, they were really good. I appreciate that. Congratulations to the boys of the Saratoga boys basketball team who got third at state. I would also like to thank Mr. Mills. Disappointed that my kids aren't going to get him. My favorite part of today has definitely been the kids. It's just really fun when the kids come before us, and it really just centers me and reminds me, why we're doing this. And I think it's just really fun to see those kids really excel and do those really great things. Logan, I hope you have a really great time. Really great opportunity that I'm sure will last a lifetime. And Gabby, I hope you have a really great time in Washington, D.C. Did really great, really impressed with your public speaking skills. And FBLA, all the kids that really excelled at that. So really fun to see. I also want to congratulate you guys on the federal programs monitoring report. That's really great. Also Mrs. Uraski and the chemistry award. If that's been mentioned before, I don't remember it, but that's also really cool to see our teachers also really excel. So there's some other things that I would like to mention, but I will move on and just wish you all a great spring break.
Logan, good job public speaking up there. That was good. I didn't really need to hear the answer. I just wanted to hear you speak some more. Test you out a little more. That was good. Yeah, a lot of opportunities mentioned. The FBLA thing has been funny because Aspen hasn't been super excited about FBLA until you go win a couple things and then maybe get to go nationals. And all of a sudden, we're excited. It's not funny how that works. I appreciate all the coaches and people that are willing to help with all the athletics and activities, and track starting right now in the middle of winter, and my kids being outside in the cold, and it's exciting. I don't know why that many kids want to run outside in the cold. It baffles me. I guess their parents must be really, really bad. So, one of the things, there's only so much money to go around for teachers, frankly. We get this much money from districts, and in our small class sizes, because we have 7 schools, nothing you can do about that. So we have some challenges in recruitment, things that are just naturally, we have more than bigger districts have that can do 10 classes of 16 kids. But by not doing that, there's some challenges, but then the numbers of people involved in activities are just baffling, And so it is a challenge to do staffing compared to some other places, but the district is ultimately about the kids, and the kids have a lot more opportunities because of us having more schools than other districts. And so every time we might whine about our ability to do some pay as well, because we have to divide the dollars over more teachers, is really good for the students.
Okay. It's hard for me to add anything to what's already been said. Well, I want to say, and I did listen to Logan at the Cheyenne, what was that performance you did in, it was like December or January? All East Band?
It's a Southeast District.
Southeast District Band. Yeah, and those things, those are really great, because I had the opportunity to go to that one in Cheyenne, and then the All-State in Rock Springs. And those kids are excellent musicians. I'd like to also say congrats to Aspen and who's our compatriot? Milan. And Gabby. That's really great that you can do that. And then we can provide the opportunities for these students to do it. And, for the awards. Leslie Uraski, I've visited her science class, and she's a really great teacher. And it's really good to have someone from our district that's honored in the teaching profession, amongst others. Yeah, have a great spring break.
It's tougher to say anything new after everybody else has already said it, but I'd like to thank JD and staff and your students. JD, you should be really proud of your kids, because I know that we are, so it's really nice to see them excel in what they have a passion for. So I'd just like to capitalize on what everybody else said.
Yeah, everybody else has nailed it. Congratulations to Noel, Robin, and Pam on their excellent report results. I tell you, I'd like to recognize you, Noel, with this curriculum revamp and whatnot. This is no easy task that you're taking on, and I think you're doing a crazy good job of representing all of the stakeholders. This is not the easiest way to take this on. But I think it's the best way. So I congratulate you on that hard work, and I know it's a lot of work. But I feel confident that you'll pull it off. So thank you for that work. Once again, congratulations to our Saratoga Middle and High School award-winning staff members and the students. That was awesome. I feel like Logan and Gabby and your travels, our state and district will be well represented. So pretty tickled for you guys and the FBLA students as well. So it's great to see this level of involvement. And then finally, hope everybody has a good and safe spring break.
Yeah. Best wishes to Christian. Welcome Tyra, Anthea, Noni, and Todd. Congrats, Logan. I hope you have a great trip. Congrats to the FBLA. Congrats to Gabby as well. And then also, I want to say thank you to the SES Principal Hiring Committee for the time you guys all put into that.
Okay, ditto to what everybody said. Appreciate the food. That's the first time I've ever seen somebody get Charlie to eat prunes. But at his age, he probably needs it being retired. Holler out to the bus drivers. You guys are getting into, I think we're on the second or maybe third winter. Look out for those guys. Also the kids running around through town, like James made mention too. Keep an eye open for those guys. Make sure you don't splash them, even though it's tempting sometimes. Welcome Seth, welcome all the new teachers. You students up here, you know, Gabby and Aspen and everybody, you guys did great. You guys doing a great job. Gonna miss Christian. I've met him a couple times through my wife. Seemed like a pretty fun guy. I know she enjoyed working with him, so I know she's gonna miss him as well. Also, you know, it's kind of unceremoniously, but you know, Dario Soto's leaving our district right now for over 50 years. I'd like to give a shout out to him. He's gonna be well missed, and hope everybody has a good and safe spring break.
All right, thank you, that was round one. No, maybe not this time. All right, we have an executive session scheduled, and for everybody else, we are going to have the executive session in here, so you will need to leave once we do it, instead of being squished into the little room. That's what we're gonna do. I was told that's what.
Chair, I move that we go into executive session to discuss personnel issues considered confidential by law and consider tendering offers concerning wages, salary, benefits, and terms of employment, and consider the offer of teacher, staff, administrative contracts.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we go into executive session to discuss personnel issues considered confidential by law and consider tendering offers concerning wages, salary, benefits, and terms of employment, and consider the offer of teacher, staff, and administrative contracts. And there will be action taken after executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we come out of executive session and approve the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to come out of executive session and approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 15A would be to offer teacher licensed contracts.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve contracts for the following teachers for the 2022-2023 school year as Mr. Daniel Greenwood of Encampment, Catherine Munson, Encampment SM and SMHS, Anne Marie Lemereau, Medicine Bow, Heather Bergman, Medicine Bow and Oak Mountain, Jordan Jansky of HEM, David Jones, HEM, Alyssa Luark of HEM, Nicole Catlin, SES, Ellie Skalberg, SES, Jamie Lee, SES, Marissa L. Palm of SES, Lisa Platt of SES, Tyra Relaford, SMHS, Anthea Teska, SES and SMHS, Noni Weber, SMHS, Todd Weber, SMHS, Ann Pantel, half-time at Encampment, Paul Switzer, Encampment, Deborah McCulley, HES, Lauren Culligan, Medicine Bow, Caitlin Larson, HEM, Darcy Becca, SES, Walker Williams, SES, Marissa Palm, SES, Ivy Palmer, SES.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve those listed teachers and offer them a contract for the 2022-2023 school year. Just to note for everybody, that was all the teachers that were presented to us were a motion to approve. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I propose that we approve the contract for Brooke Bodar as school counselor.
Second.
It's Moved and seconded to approve the contract for the 2022-2023 school year for Brooke Bodar as school counselor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Mr. Chairman, I suggest a motion to approve the contract for Hannah Good as a school counselor.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the contract for Hannah Good, school counselor, for 2022-2023 school year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit a motion to approve the contract for Nikki Thorne as school nurse.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the contract for Nikki Thorne, school nurse for the 2022-2023 school year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Mr. Chairman, I'd submit a motion to approve the contract for Rachel Johnson as grant instructional facilitator.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the contract for the 2022-2023 school year for Rachel Johnson as grant facilitator, instructional facilitator. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That is it for the teachers and renewable contracts. The next meeting dates will be Monday, April 18th, 4 p.m., HEM Junior Senior High School, Hannah, Wyoming. And the BOCES meeting will be before that, Monday, April 18th at 2:45, HEM Junior Senior High School in Hannah. That is all for this meeting.